you cannot lose with a piece of property by first marking the perimeters, then clearing out access on contour. And what's most useful is to look at the historic images. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. Looking at historic images, I can see where there were old roads, and of course all that was an old road. And look how nice it looks, all cleared out. No work to be done. Forest mulcher came through, just cut it all out. Now that old road branched here, went that way and also this way, and you can kind of tell it's an old road because it's kind of level on this contour and there's no trees in it. So it pushed into here, level, no trees. And I'll remind myself to get that trash out of there. Sometimes there's trash on either side of the road. You're also going to find large trees that are undisturbed. Now with my property boundaries, I can determine where my limits are, but also I get a better idea what terrain I have here. So my property boundary is actually downhill here, and there's a big ditch. Okay, you can see where the water runs off, and there's this huge ditch. Okay, I'm not going to try to ford that ditch, but I certainly don't want to contribute to the water going down that ditch by having hardscape too close. So what I ended up doing was cutting my contour trail much higher. So there's actually a road here. I can drive a truck through it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit by cutting some trees down, but I can drive a truck through here. I don't want that compacted area to accumulate water and then cut these channels any deeper. I don't know how you can see them on the screen here, but there's a channel here that goes downhill. Now the old road actually cut real close to here, so it's kind of below and kind of right up at the edge here. I didn't want to recut that road, so I'm looking at the old satellite images. I'm looking at where the old roads are. Then I get out here and I look at how does the ground respond. So I've got erosion. I've got interesting little tree breaks. Okay, I've got my wood materials laying into the ditch. So this ditch is getting bigger. I can see animal trails crossing at different points on this ditch. Now I walk down the ditch some, it goes down to a low spot, but I walk to the point of my property line. So my property line crosses down there somewhere. Maybe later it could be dammed off, it could be made into a waterway, it could have some cross sections for erosion control. But right now, I want to make sure I have my access high enough on the hill so that I'm not adding to the erosion problem rather than what was down here, almost driving to this ditch. So there were some weird roads over here somewhere. A lot of these large trees were on a fence line. And so maybe at one time the fence went down over the hill. So you can see where there's been trees cut out here. Maybe trees were cut out. Maybe they were dumping stuff in the ditch. I don't really know. But again, our design is modified to have our access points higher on the slope, on a level contour, and then only recovering the roads that went down ridges. So there's another road here. You can see where this rhododendron is. See that road there? That was the original road. Instead of bringing it all the way down to where I'm standing, which then goes to the ditch, I cut it across the top of that contour there. Now there's another road here, so this road here also went down that way, which you can kind of see is overgrown with rhododendron and small plants. But that goes off my property onto someone else's property, and it's going slightly on a ridge going downhill. I don't want to recover that because I don't need to go back there. So what I've done is the roads come down this way. I got a little turnaround kind of here, and then I cut it across the slope, trying to stay on contour. Now you can see it ditches down a little bit in there at the top of that hill there. It's kind of a low spot right here. We may have to move the road up the hill a little bit. But again, I cut a historical path, so I have minimal, there's no big trees. It's a historical road. And now when I come back in, all I'm doing is taking out small trees. I'm taking out some of the stuff from the change of the road. I'm far away from my property line, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, ideally, if your property line is level and on contour, clear your property line. It just makes it easier to traverse your property. You know, I may need to cut this road a little higher and enter over here, but I liked how this section here connects to this big opening. Now again, this is a low spot here. There's some rock in here. You know, maybe I have a dump truck come in here and dump in some rock, and then I build up a berm right across here so that I'm not contributing any water to that ditch. But the original roads led to erosion. I'm going to change the original road and favor the original roads because I know there was some compaction there. So this area I cut through is a little soft, but this road up here is hard as a rock. It used to have gravel on it. And so I'm giving myself the best of both worlds. Now I do notice there's some erosion coming off of this flat road up here. So I may have to adjust that later. But the forest mulcher essentially just came right through here and plowed out these openings. And you can see these openings. Now I didn't take, there's another road right there, another historic road right there. I didn't really go into that one because I had a main frame of what I wanted done, and there's another historic road right here. So I marked these things on my main map, work with the major clearings, and then that's less time for the forest mulcher. That's faster clearing of the wood space, and it was thick like this. You know, it was thick like this. And then I know it's hardscape. I know that it's semi-level. Look how nice and level this is. There's a ditch off this other side here. So there is another road over there, but that other road can be a foot trail. This can be my vehicle access. And then in the woods there can be foot trails. So I can get a four-wheeler or something in. You can see the grass is starting to grow back. You know, with this it's full and grass, I can just bush hog it. And then later, I have other access points. Now, what I like about this particular setup here is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points all coming together right here. And so I can afford to make this turnaround a little bit bigger and maybe put a hydrant here for water. So I've got 4 trails coming together. And actually, let me see if this one connects. I'm still out here picking up trash and stuff because there's beer cans. A lot of these little nooks where people park their car and drink beer. But basically, I can follow some of these trails. There should be another connecting path out that way. But anyway, I don't have to clear the whole forest to get benefit and use of the forest. I can essentially clear historic roadways first. Once you've cleared historic roadways, which will be patterned, then you get your turnaround and access points. If there's any historic roadways that are eroded, you can always move upslope and find a new contour to put in another path. If you identify any historic roads that you don't need, you can nook out the top of them. This is what I mean by nooking out the top. The forest guy just pushed the mower in here a little bit, then backed it out. Same thing right there. You know, that could be a tent site. I could put a tent here, I could put a tent here. We could have a nice little camp area here and then still have walking trails to visit. But again, you don't have to do this all at once. You want to read the historics of the land. I can drive a truck on this today. You know, when the trees are gone and the underlying road's there, I've got solid ground. It doesn't get too muddy. It doesn't run off too much. I've got solid ground. And you can see the mounds in the woods. See, you can see these little mounds of dirt where when they scoop the road out before, they just push dirt up in the corner. See, why hire a bulldozer to do this again? When it's already been done, you can use the historical maps. You can use satellite images. You can use contour lines, LiDAR, all this and more. Now, if you want to learn how to do this for your property and you want to see the benefits of this, contact me at www.prosperityhomestead.org to ask your questions. There's a lot of stuff you can't see on the camera here, like how this edge curves and how we're redirecting the water a little higher on the slope rather than down that ditch. On a satellite image, there's some things about this road being level all the way through. From the start of this road to the end of this road, there's only a 40-foot elevation change over a quarter mile. So, but again, it was cut out years ago. And without using the survey methods that we talk about in some of the other programs, without using some of the site planning and permaculture design, this road wouldn't be like this. It'd still be there, but it would be under trees like this. Now, there were no large trees in this path. This path was literally underbrush. And see, all the big trees are off to the edges. And the forest mulcher guy came right through here like butter. Like butter. And you can see what a beautiful job it is, how easy it is to access this. Can have our friends out here camping, can have the kid out here camping, and we've got our little nooks, our little hiking areas, mountain biking areas, hunting areas. So you can see there's a ditch here and a pile of dirt up there. Either there was a perk test or there was a big tree here that fell over and they just got it out of the way. But again, I save a lot of money on forest mulching. Now, it wouldn't hurt to gravel this road or to do a better cleanup on it, because you can see where some water accumulates now that it's cleared off. But again, I didn't have to have heavy equipment in here. I didn't have to have excavators. I was able to plan and design the project, so I'm benefiting from the existing ecology of the system. While we're up this far, I'll walk up here. You can see that again, there's more mounds here because they literally cut this through. All I got to do is maintain it now. There's a big giant mound in the woods right there. And again, here's an example of a cross path. So I got another turnaround space. You know, this is another little campsite. And then again, I got another nook into the woods. So this is where we actually had a shotgun, a little shotgun thing going here. But there's this little path that goes back into the woods. And so again, I cut out the historical paths. I got my access to the property, and things were moving quickly. Again, if you have any questions, you want to visit me at www.prosperityhomestead.org. The grass is going to recover on these big fields. I don't know if you like the deer hunt. Look at the snakeskin. But the grass will recover on here. Deer will be grazing out in this area. And look at that line of sight you got on this thing. Now again, you can see all my marks where I came out here and surveyed the road. Again, if you've got questions, www.prosperityhomestead.org. I'm Justin Hitt, showing you how to get more value, more utility, greater results from your wooded land, your small farm, your homestead, your estate. And this is how it works. Thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to answering your questions.